going on, guys? For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ty, and today in this video, we're going to be talking about some breaking news, and that's going to be the fact that Ryan Gosling is in talks to join the Star Wars universe. This news literally just came out like an hour ago, and I'm going to be real, I was freaking out because even though, of course, we do need to go in depth as to why this might be a good or bad move, this is just a huge headline. This is just some crazy out of the blue news. There wasn't any rumors about this. There wasn't even any speculations about Ryan Gosling or Star Wars recently. I feel like it's been relatively quiet. So for us to be getting both Ryan Gosling and Star Wars news at the same time, I can't complain. Is this a match made in heaven though? Or could this potentially be another Star Wars nightmare? Another fumbled bag like the Skywalker saga, if you're talking about the sequels at least. But listen, let's just dive into the facts here. So the news report, and this is officially from the Hollywood Reporter, this isn't like some rumor mill thing. This is a concrete article from a concrete source or multiple concrete sources. Ryan Gosling is in talks to, be in another Star Wars movie, okay? That's the whole thing that's coming out. It's going to be a Star Wars film that's after The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's going to be directed by Shawn Levy. So this is the Star Wars film by Shawn Levy that's sort of just been floating up in the air for a while now that he's been apparently working on. We haven't even heard any details. Apparently, it is not going to be tied to the Skywalker saga. That's been confirmed by the article. It's going to be its own standalone Star Wars project, potentially a one-and-done type of deal. It's not like Ryan Gosling is going to be our next Luke Skywalker. Just going to be a one-movie type of picture. I think that's pretty interesting. However, we need to go over why I think this is a great idea, why this is a bad idea, and the facts of the matter. What do we talk about first? You want to talk about Ryan Gosling or Star Wars first? I think we should talk about Ryan Gosling. The reality is, Ryan Gosling is hot right now, and I'm not just talking about his looks, okay? Pause, but seriously, I'm not just talking about the guy's looks. This guy's career is on fire right now. He just had The Fall Guy come out, okay? And that was a financial flop, but it was a really great film. I had a great time with it. And even before that, he had Barbie, the biggest film of the year. He's had La La Land, which of course he was nominated for. And even as we look at his career, going into the 2000s, first of all, he started off in Remember the Titans, of course, as like some cornerback or something. But even from there, he did a couple of indie projects. He worked in those, I don't want to say edgier films, but he had Place Beyond the Pines and Drive, which I feel like had relatively similar vibes, like thrillers. And where I sort of meet in the middle here with what he used to be doing and what he's pretty much been doing recently, we meet in the middle at, in my opinion, his best project pretty easily, A La La Land in 2016. So his career has been very, very interesting to watch. I'm very excited for what he has next. Project Hail Mary is apparently the next film that he has coming out in 2026. It's already been filmed though, that's done. What do I think about this move though, just from Ryan Gosling's perspective? I like it. I actually kind of like it. Star Wars is a failing ship right now. It is a sinking ship, I should say, that is going down. And we're going to talk about Star Wars in a second. But I think that Ryan's like, you know what? Let's take a crack at a franchise that maybe I love. I don't know if he loves it. I mean, he's a lot older than me. Not a lot older than me. I don't want to diss the guy. But I'm sure that maybe he grew up with Star Wars. I mean, who realistically didn't? And maybe he's like, you know what? I kind of want to check that out because I feel like he's just been bouncing around from so many different genres. He does musicals, he does thrillers, he does toy movies like Barbie, he does stunt big macho man action movies like The Fall Guy. He does sci-fi like Blade Runner 2049 and Project Hail Mary that's coming out next year. It feels like he wants to dabble in everything, even romance with The Notebook. This guy has done everything. So he's probably saying, you know what? Yeah, I've done sci-fi before, but I've never done Star Wars. And if they want me, now that I've finally gotten to build up my career, maybe I want to give it a shot. Now listen, while he does have an incredible track record, I understand that he does have some cheaper projects or some misses like The Gray Man, but that was pretty obviously just a paycheck. Like honestly, I respect the move. I'm pretty sure we all knew that he was just trying to make a bag, and I cannot blame him. That was a Netflix original with Chris Evans. The second that you see it's going to be Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans developed by Netflix, you kind of know they're just doing it for the money. So honestly, I salute him for that. But outside of that, for the most part, his track record is relatively flawless. So the reason I'm kind of getting at that is because of the fact that he might have read this script potentially, and he really liked it, or at least the idea that Shawn Levy had. Now, moving on to Shawn Levy here just for a second, because I'm more focused on Ryan Gosling and Star Wars, but still, Shawn Levy is the part that scares me, if I'm going to be honest here, because Star Wars, while it is sort of a sinking ship, Shawn Levy just made Deadpool and Wolverine. Listen, that was my most anticipated film of last year. Unfortunately, now that it's been, a couple months, it kind of disappointed me, honestly. I feel like the story was just really, really poorly written. And sure, it was very fun. It was very exciting, but I don't know, man. I feel like they literally put zero time into actually writing the script, so that kind of scares me. From there, Shawn Levy's track record is really not great. I mean, he's done some sort of sci-fi projects like the Adam Project, I believe, but there really hasn't been anything he's put out that's really wowed me, and this more just feels like Disney giving him the green light to make a Star Wars movie just because he wrote Deadpool and Wolverine, which, again, in my opinion, isn't really the greatest movie ever, just because it made like $1.5 billion. So they're like, oh, that means that it must have been good. So yeah, sure, you can make a Star Wars movie, and of course, they're both owned by Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars, so we're just going to shift you right over and you can just do whatever you want. But again, the key focus here is Ryan Gosling because of the fact that I feel like he's very picky with the projects that he chooses. Don't get me wrong, there's a good chance Disney said, we literally have a blank check, put whatever number you want on it, and we just want to get this deal done. That's of course a possibility, but at the same time, I feel like Ryan does have creative interest and he does have respect for film as a whole, so I'm very excited to see where he goes with this. But now it's time to talk about Star Wars, okay? It's time to talk about Star Wars, the thing I've almost been trying to avoid talking about, because as much as someone like Shawn Levy scares me because he's not that trusted, he still made Deadpool and Wolverine. It was still a success, right? It was considered a success. Star Wars needs a success. They have Andor Season 2 coming out, but let's just be realistic. In the past decade, they've done nothing but have miss after miss after miss with a couple of rare hits kind of put in between just to keep them barely afloat and barely breathing in some oxygen as they're basically just suffocating. They haven't had a movie in theaters at this point in 6 years, and by the time the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out next year, it's going to be 7 years, which I understand taking a break, but on top of that, you're putting out a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, a film that is based off of a television show that you had on Disney+. Disney Plus is big, The Mandalorian is big, but is it movie big? I don't know. And you might say, well, it's a Star Wars movie, everyone's going to go see it. That is not true because Solo did not perform that well, and that was a Star Wars movie based off of Han Solo. Even though it was a younger version, even though it was a different actor, it doesn't matter. It is the Star Wars name, and Star Wars was hot at the time because of the fact that they had The Force Awakens and Rogue One, which in my opinion are both great films, and they both made well over $1 billion. Even though I'm a bit confused with the direction of Star Wars, I feel like they're kind of just throwing stuff at the wall and they're trying to see what sticks. Like, hey, let's make a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, we'll see if that works. Let's make a Ryan Gosling standalone project, let's see if that works. Instead of trying to hone in on episode 10, you know what I mean? Like maybe some type of time jump, or apparently the Rey movie, the new Jedi Order movie that's going to be coming out, which might be episode 10. I'm just a bit confused by their direction. I don't hate this move though, just to be clear. I kind of like this move for Star Wars. You know what? Let's go get a top tier talent, and I'd even argue a top tier creative. I think Ryan Gosling is a very creative, talented person. And let's throw him into one of our films and let's try to make something great, because this is the thing. Star Wars sequels obviously tried to stay away from getting like major talent. It feels like they honed in more on trying to get new talent and trying to develop their own actors. Daisy Ridley was really not known that well at the time, and I feel like in my opinion she's a really good actress, so I'm happy that they went with her. John Boyega, he wasn't in too much, and look at him now. He's a much bigger star than he was at the time. But I like that instead of kind of dancing around trying to figure out what they're going to do, and obviously in, you know, The Force Awakens, they still have Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, they even got Oscar Isaac. These are still big names. But I'm just saying, as their leads, they didn't try to target the biggest of big actors. They went after someone to try to give them a shot, some younger talent. But I kind of like that they're kind of taking things back and they're saying, you know what? Let's go get a seasoned vet. Let's go get a Ryan Gosling. I remember that there was rumors about maybe like Keanu Reeves joining Star Wars or this or that. But I'm happy that they kind of found their guy, their Star Wars guy. I hope this comes out, I'm going to be honest. I actually kind of hope that all things work out. Could it be bad? Yes. But at the same time, you tell me that this is a standalone thing, which gives me a little bit of faith that they don't have to worry about like the lore and what's going on with the other movies or the other shows. You kind of just give me Ryan Gosling as either a bounty hunter or a Jedi. Who knows what he's going to be? I prefer bounty hunter, honestly. I feel like, I don't know, the way he looks, I feel like he looks closer to a Han Solo than like a, I don't know, Obi-Wan Kenobi. But either way, I'm actually pretty excited to see what they do with this. I'm not necessarily excited for the future of Star Wars as a whole, but I like this move, and I feel like maybe this is their first major earth-shattering step in the next direction, in a new direction that hopefully can pivot them down the right path. But guys, let me know what you guys think down below, because that's really what I want to hear. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.